This is Reggie Kelly, kicking it with my boys, Peanut and Roman, on NFL Players Second Acts podcast.
Thank you for tuning in to the NFL Players Second Acts podcast. I'm Peanut Tillman, and with me, as always, my guy, Roman Ribeye Harper.
Ribeye.
He calls me ribeye now because he had a taste of my delicious ribeyes, and
by far the best steak I've ever had in my life.
Oh, really?
I kid you not. But we'll dive a little bit more into that in a little bit.
Here we go. Let's thank all of our listeners and viewers out there, and let them know where we are, Peanut. That is the iHeart Radio studios right here in Atlanta.
A-Town.
Yeah, so we're in Atlanta this week. It's fun. We got a lot of different guests coming in. Let's jump right into our first one.
All right, this first one, it's a goodie. This gentleman was a second-round pick, like the two of us.
Yep. 42nd overall.
Absolutely, 43.
Class of 99, played 13 seasons with the Bengals and the Falcons. After football, he got into the food business. He is the founder of Kyvan Foods. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Mr. Reggie Kelly.
Yeah.
And by the way, you got it right the first time. Most people butchers that
So what's
name.
the worst?
Kyvan, whatever the case may be, but Kyvan Foods, you hit it right on the nail the first go.
Cool.
That's good, man.
I did my research.
That's a professional for you,
I did my
ladies and gentlemen.
research. If you look at my notes, I have it like the way I have it. I have the phonetic form, so I wouldn't mess it up myself. So
Smart.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure.
Because I didn't write it that way. I would have the van part. But that's why Peanut's the real professional around here.
Well, I feel naked up here. You have notes. I have nothing. So I'm hoping I can hold my weight here. Hoping I can hold my own.
Nah, you gonna answer everything truthfully.
Well, here we go.
It's you. You're an expert on yourself.
Let's get it, baby.
Well, let's jump off into it, though. How do you feel a recent accomplishment about yourself is that you were named in 2023 an SEC football legend? How did that feel?
Well, it felt absolutely great. My athletic director at Mississippi State gave me a call, Zach Selma, who is doing an excellent job.
He's doing an outstanding job.
You know, he has a great pedigree, come from a football family, and just a great guy overall. He knows the business inside and out. So he gave me a personal call to let me know that I had received such a great honor. And he told me he would be there to support me. If there's anything that I needed, he would definitely be there. And so he gave me the call. And quite honest with you, they surpassed all of my expectations, right? I was with some of the greats, Hall of Famer Patrick Willis.
Yeah.
Was there Chase Kaufman, Andre Smith, along with so many other greats like Shane Matthews as well. And man, they laid it out. I mean, first class, everything. They put us up at the Hyatt Regency, and they treated us like kings. And I had the opportunity to celebrate with my wife and with my son, who's a football fanatic. So he saw some of the greats as well. Yeah, it was a great experience, a great weekend, guys.
Hey, tell me this, though. I got one more follow-up. Is like, did you ever feel that, when you get an honor so much further after you've done hanging it up, right? Do you feel a little bit forgotten and all of a sudden you get that call and you're like, man, I'm not forgotten about. They do remember me.
Man, I actually felt extremely grateful because, I grew up next door to my grandmother, right?
Yeah.
And my grandmother always told me, anytime somebody does something good for you, be appreciative and say thank you.
Absolutely.
Regardless if it's in the short term or the long term. So whenever I got that call, I was just like, man, I'm extremely grateful that they thought enough of me. They thought enough of my game, what I did on the football field, my body of work, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And they decided to select me to this great honor. So because of it, man, no, I didn't feel slighted as if like, man, it took a long time. I was like, well, it came right on time.
Right.
And I'm extremely grateful for that.
So it's the SEC legend, right? Or a football legend. Is that equivalent to like a Hall of Fame just in the SEC conference? Is that kind of what it's equivalent to?
Ron, give us a spiel on it, man.
So I would say yes in the short terms because the college football has its own Hall of Fame.
Correct.
And you can only be elected into the College Football Hall of Fame if you're an AP All-American. So for a lot of players who are not selected to be All-American, but were still truly greats at their own school or within the SEC, it's another way to honor those guys.
Gotcha.
So, and I think the ADs in the SEC do a great job of really trying to, fine-tooth comb things of their own university so they can be represented there. And it's a great time for a place like Mississippi State to say, hey, we still got some greats out there have not been honored with these things. So Shout out to Reggie for being that
Yeah,
call.
yeah.
That guy
And,
getting
and,
that call.
and coming from Mississippi State, we need some type of positive, right?
Yeah. Okay.
They a little
Rome, I know you're gonna get on. I know you're gonna get on.
Right now. I just think they don't have enough yet. It's all right though. It's coming.
It's coming.
That's the key word. Yet.
coming.
Yeah,
It's coming. It's coming on down the road.
I agree.
So I want to transition. You make it to the league in '99. What was that welcome to the NFL moment? I know we all play. We're all second round picks, and we all had that time where we got hit or something happened in the league, and we were like, "Damn, this the league. I'm with the big boys now."
Yeah.
What was that moment for you?
Well, it happened in training camp, right? I'm not sure. You guys remember Jesse the Hammer?
Yeah,
Jesse Tuggle. Yep.
Yeah, the Hammer though. Let's remember that word. The Hammer.
Okay.
That's the operative word right now. And so during training camp, I was known as a blocker. That was my forte, a guy that works extremely hard, a guy that's going to play through the whistle, a guy that's extremely, extremely physical. So that's what I brought to the table. And I'm quite sure that the veterans did their homework and they didn't want to be a statistic, right? Especially from a rookie coming in. And so I was having an excellent training camp my rookie year, getting out to folks until I met the Hammer. And the Hammer, his reputation suits him. And so I was blocking the play and blocking down on a gap style play, blocked down on the Hammer, and he absolutely laid me out. I had never in my life experienced that type of hit, that type of pain, and that type of embarrassment to the point where all the veterans said, "Welcome to the NFL, Rook. Welcome to the NFL." And that was what he was known for, physical play. But as I continued to practice and continued to play, in the NFL, I saw, man, I just can't rely on my skill set. I can't just rely on my physical attributes. I really have to study the game. I really have to do a good job of just pruning my skill set and understand it's all about angles. It's all about leverage. It's all about footwork. It's all about having your hands in the right position. And if I do that and I do that at a consistent level, then I can play on the same level as these guys. So I'll be the one welcoming the rookies to the NFL and then letting the wood on those guys. So that was my welcome to the NFL moment. And guys like Chuck Smith, guys like Jesse Tuggle, they taught me how to be a pro, taught me how to get out to people. They should tell me, don't have a problem taking a man's heart. Do not have a problem taking that heart, because if you do that early and often, it gives you a better chance to succeed on this level.
I like that. Do you think we've kind of lost a little bit of that?
I do.
Like trying to take another man's heart. Like when I went to Carolina, TD Thomas Davis, he would say, we got to take them to a dark place they don't want to be, a place that they don't want to go. And I was like, hell yeah, that's how I think. That's that peanut punch mentality right there. I'm trying to take you to a dark place.
Did you just name drop?
No, I did not.
I think you sort of did.
No,
I think you sort of did. But it's okay. It's okay. You can do that.
It's good. It's fine.
I don't even have a question, guys. Y'all cracking them right now. I appreciate like the older generation, the older
mentality.
Yeah.
Old school. I love that.
What
man.
did you learn from that play too? Like, what did you do wrong? If you could go back.
I was out of control. And I kind of alluded to it when I said my footwork was here, there, everywhere.
Yeah, you just thought you could just go hit him.
Thought I could just go hit him. All right. Jesse was about, I think, 5'10".
Yeah.
I'm 6'5". So I had like no leverage.
Yeah.
No leverage. Out of control, no leverage, and my hands were all over the place. And he showed me, Rook, when you come up against me, you better have your act together.
Yeah.
You better have every facet of your game on point. And that's how it is when you're playing all the greats in the NFL. After that episode, Terance Mathis came up to me. Terance Mathis is Mr. Atlanta Falcon. He was one of the first NFL wide receivers during his time to catch over 100 passes. And in today's game, that's everybody's doing it. But back then, that was something to be seen. And so Terance came to me after I got knocked on my butt, and he said, "Listen to me, Rook. If you do the little things right, the big things will follow." And listen, man, whatever that means, I just got knocked on my butt here, bro. I'm embarrassed. I'm really not thinking about that. I'm thinking about retaliation. That's really what I was thinking about. Didn't know that what he was telling me, if you want to be great and if you want to play on that type of a level, you're going to have to do the little things right. So he knew I wasn't really listening to him at that point, but he came back with me with great patience, as really all the great, veterans do, who are trying to leave the game better than they found it. He said, "Now listen to me, young fella. If you do the little things right, the big things will automatically occur." Basically what he was telling me, in order for you to truly succeed on a high level, at a consistent level, those who really do it, they do it because they do the small things that those who don't succeed never do. Success has always been wrapped up in doing the small, minute, strenuous, tedious details that those who fail are either too lazy to do or make excuses why they can't do it. And so he was telling me, don't be lazy. Don't make excuses. Do the work. And if you do that, you'll be on the other side of that for many, many years. And that really transformed my life as an NFL tight end. From that point on, I was on the incline, ended up playing 13 years like you guys played a long time in the NFL as well.
Yeah. So 2011, I want to go to 2011.
2011.
Can't wait. That was the lockout year.
Uh-huh.
You were a rep. It didn't affect me that much. And we were talking about this earlier. Rome was affected by the lockout. And we'll let you answer that question in a little bit.
Thank you.
My question is, how was it being a part of those negotiations? You know, a part of the CBA and being in there, like negotiating with players, owner, like everyone's all involved, right?
Yeah.
Like, explain that process and what that was like.
Well, I would say just based on my recollection, it was very intense.
Yeah.
Extremely intense because one side wanted one thing, meaning the owners, but we as players need to get some of the things that we needed done. And we weren't just working and negotiating on behalf of us current players. We were negotiating on behalf of the past players, the current players, and the future players. We were actually looking out for the best interest of our guys. You know, anytime you negotiate a contract, doesn't matter if it's an individual contract or you're negotiating for the sake of the overall good of everybody. The collective group, you want to make sure that you do what's in the best interest, not of self, but of others. And so it got pretty intense. But what we told all the players, listen, we know that you guys want to be on the football field playing. We know that you want to make your salaries, and there were a lot of things that were thrown back and forth saying, well, you guys not going to play, you guys not going to get paid. And so oftentimes when money is put in the picture, it can bring some fear.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It can add pressure to guys, especially their livelihoods in their pockets. But we told them, listen, we can't cave in. Listen, this is bigger than us. It's bigger than the current players. We have to do what's best for the future and also our guys who paved the way for us. And so you had a little bit of bickering here and there, a little bit of arguments here and there. But by the same token, we came together as one unit saying, regardless if we see things differently or not, we have to do what's best. And I'm extremely proud that we stuck to our guns. We saw it through. And pretty much, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 85, I would say probably about 90% of the stuff that we negotiated, we got it pretty much exactly the way that we wanted. Yeah, we had to give a little bit and take a little bit. That's part of negotiations as well. But the thing that I would always say about that group of guys is that we did, at the end of the day, we stuck together. We were not going to be denied. We were not going to be pushed up. We said, hey, we're going to do this thing. And I'm extremely pleased and proud of the guys who stepped up and had that type of leadership to do so. And there were some owners. I'm going to be honest with you. There were some owners who were on our side. Also, I'm not going to name their names, but there were some owners who reached out to us and said, you guys are doing it the right way. And we appreciate you guys doing it the right way. And if that's anything that you guys need from us, we'll do our best to relay that information to make sure that we get it done.
Now, were owners and players in one massive room or like one big room and it was just like back and forth, or was it just a mediator kind of mediating between owners and players?
Yeah, it was more so the mediator. And there were times where some select guys did meet, with Roger Goodell. They did meet with him and try to, to get things hashed out because they really didn't know if we would really get the job done and get the deal done in time for the NFL season. But, guys felt some kind of way about that. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
Guys felt some kind of way. And you know how it is with us. If you feel a little bit disrespected, sometimes you handle it. Sometimes you handle it the wrong way. Sometimes you handle it the right way. But I think for the most part, even though we didn't agree with the owners, we didn't agree with their stance, we knew our value. We knew our worth. And my mama always told me that there will always be someone who doesn't see your value. There will always be someone who doesn't see your worth. Never let that someone be you. And I think that we had that mentality. We know what we bring to the game of football. As far as the economics, we know what we bring as well to the ownership. And we want to make sure that we're properly compensated. We want to make sure that we get the benefits that we are due for the older guys, for the future guys, and also for the present guys as well.
you mentioned a couple different things and about knowing your value and being disappointed and this, that, and other. I was one of those guys. So when the lockout happened, and maybe you can give me a little bit of advice to make me feel better now. All these years
he's so salty right now. We literally talking about this before you walked in, and he was just
still
like,
talking about that? Huh?
Dude, I'll explain why. 2009, we won a Super Bowl. I went to my first Pro Bowl. I was deemed to become a free agent. The lockout happened. I was not at 6 years. I was at year 4. So still very young and supposed to get my money. I could not get my money for 2 years because, you laughing.
There it is.
I was the one.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was this, everybody, if you're outside of this, and NFL owners, we can agree or disagree whether they colluded not to do anything or not. But smart on their part because they're business people. But the fact of the matter is, I know you guys were in there beating it down the table and all these other things, but for players like me, that was just like, what the crap is going on? I don't understand enough at this point in my career. I don't understand enough in life besides I just want my money.
Absolutely.
And if I don't get this deal now, that also kicks it down the road 2 more years when I do get my deal. And it's not about getting the deal. It's about getting that next deal after that. And they're getting back at the negotiating table. Could you maybe help soothe me and my pain on this whole breakdown of what went down and how you guys understood that the guys that were in the limbo or in the gray area, this whole collective group of guys, and how you guys probably felt bad for us, but we still had to do what you had to do.
What's the greater good, man?
And
stop being so selfish.
Yeah, I was selfish, dude. I'm sorry.
I think Peanut hit it right on the head. We were looking at what is the greater good for the overall league, for all the players who had gone before us, to the current players, and also for the young guys who were going to come in the league that didn't know much about the business aspect as far as the money, the economics, and that whole deal. We wanted to make sure that we set in our mindset the standard. And I think one of the biggest things that I took away from it is that we wanted to be as one, as a unit. We wanted to show the owners, we wanted to show the world, regardless if they criticized us or not, that we were going to stand together as a brotherhood, functioning together to get this job done. I feel like so many times people may look at us as just athletes. Just athlete. They're just an athlete. You're just an athlete. No, we're much bigger than being an athlete. Oftentimes tell people that, me playing football, that's just simply what I do. A man of God is who I am. My identity is not wrapped up in just football. I'm much more than that. I'm a businessman. I understand numbers. I understand the economics. I understand government. I understand politics. The whole 9 yards. I try to make sure that I'm properly educated, and that so I can go into a room and have conversations on anything. I can go into a room and fight for what's right because I understand exactly the dynamics behind that complex situation. And so for me, my whole thing was my teammates elected me, as a rep to speak on their behalf. And if I was just speaking on my behalf, that's one thing. But when they elected me to speak on behalf of the entire league and the future of the league, I had to do, in my opinion, what was best for the collective group. Which means if I didn't get what I wanted, that's fine as long as it served the greater cause. And so that was our mentality. And we knew that we was going to get some pushback. There's always some pushback. But at the end of the day, I thought the negotiation went extremely well, and we got a lot of things that we had set out to get.
I would agree with you on the overall. I just need to get that off my chest for somebody that was in the room. So
absolutely.
I appreciate you just, because I was part of that group. That it was a few of us that man, we supposed to get super broke off right now, and we did not. And so that was,
but it turned out really well for you anyway.
Yeah, I'm not complaining, but I would have got that 5th.
You are complaining a little bit.
You're right, but I will say one of the best things that you guys did was look out for the past players.
Yeah.
Before that CBA, they had not been looked after like that 2011 CBA set everything else differently on the trajectory of our former players. And what we're able to now get,
absolutely,
as we are past players and becoming that pot. And so in 2011, we set the standard of always looking back and pulling forward, and they will continue to do that going forward.
Absolutely,
because of the standards that you guys set in that room. So great job overall.
Appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate y'all.
I want to talk post football. Your second act. So you get out of football and that transition. You go from the gridiron to the cast iron.
There it is. There it is. This man does his research. This man does his research,
from
baby.
the gridiron to the cast iron. So how was that transition so smooth for you? Because I know Rome and I we talk about this all the time.
My God, I like that. Could you say that one more time, man? I just like the sound of that. Go ahead, one more time. Give it to me.
From the gridiron to the cast iron.
From the gridiron to the cast iron.
So professional. Yeah, you know, football is something I did. It's not who I am. You know,
it is.
I'm a professional. But no, seriously, like your transition was like what I assume, and you can help me understand that. It seemed like it was smooth. Why do you think that transition was so smooth once you got out of football? Because I know Rome and I, we've talked, and kind of what this podcast is about. It's just about talking to, you know, former players and how they get into their second act and how they transition. Some do it well, some struggle a little bit, some maybe not so much. There is no blueprint. It's all kind of custom to the player. So why was yours so smooth, do you think?
It was actually a smooth transition, but I learned that even before I became an entrepreneur, again, my rookie year, Terance Mathis took me under his wings, right? And again, I always shout out T-Matt. And by the way, T-Matt is the head coach, football coach at Morehouse now, so I want everybody to support him. But T-Matt, you know, he would always give me nuggets, just nuggets, man. You got to leave the game better than you found it, man, nuggets, how to be a professional on and off the field. And he told me, you know, you're going to have to prepare for life after football one day, Rook. I know you may not want to hear that. You may think you're going to play forever, but you got to prepare, you know, for life after football. And you got to do the little things right. And if you do the little things right, of course, the big things will always follow you. So he gave me a blueprint to say, hey, play the game of football. Enjoy the game of football. Take what you can take from the game of football. But when it's over, then what? That's when life really hits. And if you don't have a plan, you can plan to fail. What's the old phrase? If you fail to plan, you might as well plan to fail. Mm-hmm. And he told me that in so many different instances, so that once I actually finished playing football, well, to be honest with you guys, I started the business while I was still an active player.
Okay.
During the off seasons, I would go and research how to start a food company. I would research all the intricate details about the economics, about the marketing, about the sales, about the manufacturing, about supply chain, about R&D.
What's R&D?
R&D, research and development. So for every product, you got to research, you got to develop it. It has to meet certain standards, certain protocols. You can't just put any kind of product on the market unless it's absolutely approved and it's up to standard. It's commercialized, so to speak. So you may go in with a recipe, but once it gets commercialized, that recipe is called a formula, right? And so I had to learn all of those intricate details about the food and beverage industry, to the point that once I finally retired, I had already started a business. My business was already running smoothly. And if you guys don't mind, I could tell you really what really was kind of like that moment where it's kind of like trailblaze when my company just started to really catch on fire. And this is not everybody's story. Every entrepreneur has their own story, but shucks, I had only been in business for about 3 months, guys. 3 months. I knew hardly anything about the food industry except for the stuff that I had researched. And so I said, well, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to start off extremely small. I'm going to err on the side of caution. I'm going to get me probably a couple mom and pop retailers to take my products so that I can, you know, learn the business. And if I kind of fail, well, I can fail from a small scale perspective. Well, within 3 months, I took the plunge on reaching out to Walmart stores and to see if they would, you know, schedule a meeting with me. And to my surprise, when I reached out to them a week later, they responded back wanting to schedule a meeting for me to present my product. Yeah, I had one of those moments. I'm like, because if you understand the industry, that doesn't happen, right? To get an opportunity to meet with a Walmart or a Kroger or a Target stores, to meet with stores like that, only been in business for 3 months, they're not really going to give you the time of day because you don't have the numbers, you don't have the sales, and you probably don't have the experience. But anyway, this regional merchandiser reached back out to me and said, let's schedule this meeting. And so went in to meet with him. And when the meeting was over, he kind of leaned in, looked at me across the table and said, you know what? There's something about you. I'm going to give you a shot. He said, yeah, there's something about you. I'm going to give you a shot. And here I am like saying, well, he didn't say there was something about my products, which we got good products. Product was on fire. He didn't say, shucks, we like your sales. Man, I had only did business with 2 or 3 mom and pop retailers. Nothing on the scale of Walmart. He never said anything about sales, but he said there's something about you. What I failed to tell you guys was about a month before I had that meeting, I traveled to multiple Walmart stores in multiple states. And each Walmart merchandise is a lot different. They have different products. I was up and down every last aisle in those Walmart stores, looking at my competitive brands, looking at their nutritional panels, their ingredient decks, their packaging, their pricing. I would buy those products, and before I got to the car, I was tasting the products, not using a spoon or fork or anything, no meats, just tasting the product, just to get an analysis of what are they doing to get on the shelves and what do I have to do to compete against those particular brands. And I would walk around the stores and get all the information that I could, to the point where when I actually met with that merchandiser, he knew I couldn't have gotten that information just searching the web.
Yeah.
He knew I couldn't have gotten all of that information just by looking on the internet. He knew I had to actively travel from one state to the next, multiple stores within that state, because I was telling them stuff that was in one store that wasn't in the other store. I was telling them the workers, the culture, all of that stuff, to the point where he said, if he can do that in this short period of time, imagine what he can do in the long run. And so I learned a couple things from that particular meeting. First thing, you don't get a second chance to make a first impression. Mm-hmm. When you get your opportunity, you better kick the door in. The next thing is, people do business with people they like. It's not necessarily what you know, it's who you know. To finish that story off, when I left that meeting, he gave me a deal to do business with Walmart stores, only been in business for 3 months. He reached out to two of his other buddies that are merchandisers as well. Mm-hmm. And because he liked me and because I knew him, he reached out to him, and then they gave me an opportunity to put my products in their stores as well, simply because they knew him and simply because I knew him, and the rest is history. So, when you get your opportunities, you got to make sure that you're a likable person, especially in this type of business. And you got to make sure that you take full advantage of every opportunity that you have.
Yeah. Reggie, man, you give me a whole bunch of nuggets over here, dog. I'm just taking notes, because this stuff I'm telling my kids. Mm-hmm. It's just impressive, right? And everybody needs to hear that. People do business with people they like.
Yeah.
That's a gold mine. You don't get a second chance at a first impression.
Yep.
Everybody needs to hear that.
You got a good brand.
Yeah, great brand. I want to know this, though. What made you get into the food business? That's the one thing you didn't tell us.
I'm greedy. I'm greedy, man.
Okay, like what? Yeah, you got all these products, you had this game plan. First of all, the fact that you went to all these different Walmarts, you were behind enemy lines and they didn't even know it.
They didn't even know it.
You were just tasting everything. Like, that's amazing story.
You said moving inside.
The grind, and they don't
like
even know
lasagna.
That guy was like, man, bump this. He knew the thing. He's like, you bet on the jockey, not the horse.
Absolutely.
I'm not betting on the barbecue, the sauce, whatever. I ain't worried. I'm betting on this guy. This guy's different. So what made you get into food, though? Like, what made you go there?
Well, like I said, I'm greedy, but the truth be told, it wasn't really something that I wanted to do, fellas. During the off seasons, I used to throw free football camps for the kids in my hometown, Aberdeen, Mississippi. And I used to reward the kids who exemplified great academic excellence, right? I wanted kids to understand, when you do good, you can expect good. Hard work pays off. And so I used to throw them these free football camps. I had my teammates come out and really speak life into the kids. But I didn't want the kids just to see athletes and think that, okay, the only way that I can be a success is to be an athlete. No, I brought in professionals. I brought in business people. I brought in blue collar workers who were successful, just to see kids, seeing people who model success and how that looked. Mm-hmm. And the kids absolutely enjoyed the football camps. And after the camps were over, and for that matter, after any event in Mississippi, bro, you're going to have some good food, baby.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to have some eats for you. And so my family and my wife's family cooked for all the volunteers. And I tell you, my teammates couldn't stop raving about our family recipes. Some of them really had never been to the SIP, to Mississippi. And so they didn't really know how we get down, and so they were raving to the point where one of my teammates, called my wife Sheila and said, you guys really need to do something with these family recipes. And my wife came to me as they normally do, and she gave me a little arm rub, and I said, oh boy, where are we going with this? And she said, babe, I really think we need to take Nicole's idea and we need to run with it. We need to take our family recipes and start a business. And shucks, man, that wasn't something I wanted to do. I'll be honest with you. Once I finally retired, I wanted to work either in the NFL front office. I took a trip up to New York, met with Ray Anderson, met with Ron Hill at the time, Troy Vincent. I talked with them guys about the next step. I talked to Coach Marvin Lewis. He said, man, Reg, we need you in a position of leadership like that, not necessarily being a coach, but being in the front office, and you have a lot to bring and give to the NFL. And so that's really where my head was at, honestly. And so, but my wife, she had other plans. And my wife and I, we were high school sweethearts.
Mm-hmm.
So we had been together for a minute. I remember I had told her, hey, when we get married, we need to start our own business together. We need to be entrepreneurs. I was just trying to be slick, cool with it, smooth with it, and it gets you in trouble every time.
Yeah. They ain't forget nothing.
They ain't forget nothing. And so all these years, almost 2 decades later, she remembered it. And when, one of her girls put that in her ear, I think you guys need to take your family recipes to market. It was just like a light bulb hit. In regards to whatever excuses I made, she wasn't going to let me.
Yeah.
No excuses was going to be good enough. And she said, no, I think we need to do this. And lo and behold, I told her, well, if we're going to do it now, I'm going to be all in. And she's always been detailed. She's always been goal, driven. And that's her reputation. And I'm the same way. And so that's when the off season hit, bro, I'm talking about I'm up to 2 and 3 o'clock at night, research, and traveling, asking people in food and beverage industry about what do I need to do? How do I need to start this company? What should I do to be very competitive? Because you can have a great product, but if you don't know how to market it and you don't know the demographics to market it to, you're not going to succeed. So I learned all that information, from those people, and they ended up helping us to start this bit. They didn't end up helping us, but they gave us some of the resources we need as far as information and some experience to help us start this business. And so what ended up happening is, long story short, no, I'm telling it long.
No, you good.
Long story short, we ended up starting the food business. We named it after our kids. My daughter's name is Kyla. Son's name is Kyvan. Combined the two to come up with Kyvan. And we desire to leave a lasting legacy, a tangible legacy to our kids. And if they want to work the business, great. If they don't want to work the business, great. But we want to give them a head start in life so they can be their own bosses if they choose to do so. And so that's our plan. And that's really how Kyvan Foods got going, man.
So what's one of the best things that you all sell? Like what's the hottest item?
They all good, Peanut, man.
They all okay. Let me put it like this.
Okay. How many kids you got?
I have 4.
How many kids you got, Ron?
4.
So you got 4 kids. I kind of liken this food company to like my babies.
Okay.
Right? Well, when people ask like, what is your favorite?
Who's
your favorite kid?
We both got favorites.
Dude, there's no way I'm saying I have a favorite.
He's got a favorite.
I have,
his youngest, little Sully Poland. You his favorite. You Pop's favorite. Come on now. Everybody know that.
Oh no,
Don't
man. Roll the second, man. That's my dog.
Okay. This is our trusty
I know I come
assistant
prepared.
right here. This is my assistant right here.
Yeah, I know I come prepared.
This is my assistant, Thomas Warner, our trusted assistant. That's my intern, y'all.
That's the mild salsa.
I'm a wimp, man, when it comes to heat. But I make the heat for everybody else.
I like.
So y'all got a recipe. That's a family recipe salsa. Black people got the family salsa recipe.
Well, it's a little bit of this, add a little bit of that, and then voila, you got yourself a masterpiece. So I grew up in a family of cooks.
Okay.
Not chefs. And so, we have a little bit of this, add a little bit of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little taste of this, and boom, you got yourself a masterpiece. So, man, we got salsa, apple butters, salad dressings, barbecue sauces, seasonings, the whole 9.
First of all, you guys have a huge influence in the state of North Carolina where I live. So I'm going to make sure I'm go scoop up some. That is good.
I appreciate it.
Actually.
Talk to me. Talk to me. Huh?
That is
Y'all
good.
thought I was playing.
Hey,
Y'all thought I was playing,
good.
huh?
It's fire.
Y'all thought I was
I'm not
playing.
gonna
Huh?
say fire. It's fire.
It is good. It is sweet.
That's facts.
You
Don't
got
mess
the
around
little
over here.
crisp. It's good. It is good.
What do y'all taste, Ron? What do you taste? What did you taste when you tasted that?
It's a little bit of sweetness, but it's like
It's got like a little tang to it.
I think that's the apple in it a little bit. I don't eat fruit, but I will eat fruit flavored or things with fruit flavor.
You don't eat fruit?
I don't.
Wait a minute, man.
Reggie,
no
not
fresh
make this
produce.
about me.
You eat
Let's
vegetables.
We're not making this about me. All right. But this is good though. And I saw that as you guys are going down the list. I would love to also see this sweet potato barbecue sauce.
Do we have any sweet potato barbecue sauce in the house?
I've never even heard of this, but for me and my family, being from Alabama, you give me some barbecue sauce,
yeah,
and you got sweet potatoes, and I ain't got to separate them. I can just have them all at one time. Boy, I'm in. I don't even know what that's. It sounds crazy.
Listen. The man made a request, and we like to answer requests around here, baby.
That's what I'm talking
he
about,
wanted
baby.
sweet potato, and we gave him sweet potatoes. And
That's it.
You got to open it up now. Shake it up for him. Shake it up for him. Shake it up.
Gotta shake this up.
Shake
we
that
we don't
thing
get
up, baby.
products all the time like this.
We do not. So I'm in Chicago. How can I? Do I just got to go to the website to order this, or are you in the Midwest? Are y'all in the Midwest?
Yes, we are. So we service a number of retailers across the country. Let's first start, let's say, from an e-commerce platform. We service every Amazon Fresh fulfillment center nationwide. So for those who don't understand what Amazon Fresh is, it's a platform under the Amazon brand, and it's just an online grocery store. So if you order our products off of Amazon Fresh, they're delivered to you in grocery bags within 2 hours.
Okay.
So it's not like your traditional Amazon where you got to order, then a couple of days you receive your order in boxes.
I got you.
So we service every Amazon Fresh fulfillment center nationwide. You can find our products on our website. We service select Target retailers, food line retailers. And one of our greatest passions is we do a lot of food service stuff. So we service restaurants, hotels like the Hyatt Regency, Hilton, colleges, hospitals, the whole nine.
So, your story's been amazing. And clearly you're doing great things. I mean, it's really good.
You got to hit that sweet potato,
I'm gonna
man.
hit the
You got to
sweet
hit it.
I'm going to hit that.
You need to take it to the head too, bro.
Yeah. So,
Just take it.
so I don't know if I ever.
I have never salsa, barbecue sauce. I ain't never just. That's like Homer Simpson.
But are y'all
And
foodies?
Reggie
Are y'all
just talks
foodies?
about it like this is
I
just
am.
normal behavior. I don't
It
know
is.
that.
It is.
This is just
It seems fat.
straight. Yeah, okay.
I'll say it. It seems fat, but if that's how you got to get the taste for it,
It is,
I guess
baby.
that's what
I
you
want to
got
know this
do.
though. If you have one, what has been your biggest challenge, like in this industry, like getting into it? What you've figured out since you've been in it? Tell me, like one of the biggest challenges you've had to get over.
That's an absolutely great question, and especially for entrepreneurs looking to start a business up. Quite often, I've done a few panel sessions, me and Brian Scott with the Atlanta Falcons, sponsored by Truett Bank, and we get an opportunity to sit in front of small business owners to talk to them about the importance of being detailed, being intentional, and having a great plan. And so I'm quite often, he's about to take it. Go ahead, baby. I'll pause for this.
To the head.
Tap him up, man. Tap him up.
Oh,
Tap him up.
Come on, dog.
Tap. Give him up.
I'm gonna do it too, man. I can't let my dog do it alone. I ain't never done this. So I got honey apple.
Cheers.
I got sweet potato barbecue sauce.
We take it to the head.
Cheers.
Cheers.
There it is. Talk to me.
It's good. I wish I had
Some wings.
pork or some wings or some ribs.
That is good.
Now you get the true flavor profile without it being masked with meat or vegetables or anything. You got to take it to the head.
So you just got to take it to the head. That's the best way to do.
So like whenever I do product samplings, whenever I have meetings in front of executive chefs, a lot of times they don't want to taste the product when it's in conjunction with a meat, let's say for instance, or chip. They want to see the actual true flavor profile of the product. They want to taste every ingredient, if you will, in that particular product. So a lot of times we don't match it up with some chips or meats until after they get the initial taste profile of the product. So yeah, that's how we do it in the food industry, baby. That's how we get down, man.
I didn't know that either.
I just figured you did that. I just figured that was just like alcohol or wine or something. You just take it to the head, not barbecue sauce.
That's my first time.
We're foodies
I actually really like it.
We're foodies over here, man. So what did you think about the sweet potato? Because a lot of people, listen, this is what I normally get, right? when you talk about a sweet potato barbecue sauce, we also have a sweet potato vinaigrette salad dressing. But my usual reaction is from people like, sweet potatoes, come on, man, nah. Or it's, man, I love sweet potatoes, right? And so normally when somebody says, I love it, they're eager to taste it. And normally when somebody says, I don't like it, they're so pessimistic about it to the point where they really want to taste it just because they want to see what it really tastes like. And so either way, normally when I present that product, I normally have people hooked because you really can't taste the sweet potatoes too much.
I agree.
No.
That was what I was going to tell you. Like,
Yeah.
I really didn't taste the sweet
I
potatoes as
didn't.
much as I thought.
It tastes like barbecue sauce.
It tastes like barbecue sauce. But you got all the healthy ingredients and all the nutrients, not ingredients, but the nutrients and vitamins that come from a sweet potato is actually in the sweet potato barbecue sauce. That's why moms really like it. That's why I really like it, because I don't have any of that junk as far as synthetic ingredients, non-GMO, gluten-free, no high fructose corn syrup. And then when you add that to the flavor profile and the nutritional ingredients, you can't go wrong, man. Only way you can go wrong is if you don't have any skills on the grill.
Yeah.
And that's for another conversation. That's for another
my dog got
spotlight.
the skills on the grill.
Dude, that's not me.
You know what I'm thinking? You know what I'm thinking though?
What's that?
The sweet potato barbecue sauce and the ribeye.
So I'll do the ribeyes on the side. I do chicken wings really well too.
Okay.
I'll break out my green egg for you.
You can't put the barbecue sauce on the ribeyes, though.
I would.
You
I
can't
just-
put it on the ribeye.
I agree.
I would.
He just wants
He
the
just-
ribeye.
I just want the ribeye.
He just wants the ribeye.
I just want the ribeye.
I need to know, how do you prepare the ribeyes? I know we're getting off course here a little bit, but how do you prepare the ribeyes, man? Talk to me.
I got
Is it a secret?
I got some ingredients. That
It's
I put
a secret. All
I
right.
got some
All right.
stuff I
I'd
do.
have been to a lot of restaurants. I done had a lot of Michelin, and I'm gonna give Rome. I'm gonna give him his credit. I'm gonna give my dog his credit.
Nice like that?
It is the greatest steak I've ever had in my life.
Give me the highlight. Like, what makes it the great?
Seasoning, the flavor.
seasoning.
Like each bite was like, damn, I taste that. And that morning I woke up, I just ate it off the bone.
He's loving that, man.
He is.
Look at it.
Because this was, and you can
No,
ask.
this is a couple months ago.
This is from the summertime, and you can ask everybody else on set. He cooked for us, and it was he invited us to his crib. He cooked, and he was like, "Yo, this is what I learned. I learned how to do this, that, and whatever." And he's taking his fingers and he's sprinkling the spices, and he's doing it. Got the herbs and everything, and he's sprinkling everything,
Okay.
doing his thing. And he was like, "Hey, he cut one up and he gave it to all of the cruise staff, the fellas. He gave us a piece. I was like, okay, yeah, that's good, whatever." And then it all came out, and then we ate it, and I was like, "Yo, this
how
right
you
here
moving?
this is nice.
This how you get down?
It's
It's like that?
He woke up.
didn't-
He woke up the next day and just ate ribeye cold, just like
Like that?
out just off the bone, caveman style. It was that good. I give him his props. I normally don't give him his props,
no, you
but
don't.
hey, he did his thing on that.
Reggie, I
solid.
got you, dog. Next time, dog.
He's
All
solid.
right,
He's
you got
solid.
me next time?
So,
Yeah.
my question for you is: you are a successful gentleman, business, football, college, life. You've done well. Mount Rushmore. Who would be on your Mount Rushmore of helping you get to where you've gotten in life? And it could be anybody, any group of people. You get four.
I would say my dad,
Okay.
my mother.
Why moms and pops?
But my dad and mom, they were extremely instrumental in my life. And I would just say, honestly, when you think about just a community, I grew up in a tight-knit community, let me say that. And so you never become a success by your own merit and by your own work. There's a number of people who help prune you, who help develop you, who discipline you, who've given you direction so that you can reach that trajectory in life, that incline in life that they already knew that you could reach. And so I had a really tight-knit community that poured in me how to handle myself as a young man, once they pushed me off into the world. And my parents were number one on that list. My dad always taught me to pray like everything depends on God, which it does, and to work like everything depends on you. For faith without works is dead. My dad was always instrumental in hard work pays off, son. Even if you don't have the most talent like somebody else, And what they say about hard work, it trumps talent all day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so my dad was very instrumental in teaching me the facets of working my butt off, trusting in the Lord. And if you do that, good things normally going to come your way. My mother, on the other hand, my mother was tough too now. She was extremely tough. She's the one who told me about values. Always know your worth.
Mm-hmm.
Always know your value, because there's always going to be someone who doesn't see it. Never let it be you. But one of the greatest things she also taught me is to have some standards. And the standards are never to be shifted. She told me that when I was a kid. So she said, it doesn't matter if you go off to the NFL. It doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur. It doesn't matter how much money you make. You need to present yourself from how you dress, from how you talk, from how you act, from how you do business, from how you do your job. You need to handle yourself with some standards at all times. And she would finish with this: the standards are not to be shifted, Reggie. Even if our society shifts their standards, yours should never shift, because you're called to be a catalyst. I'm a catalyst in this world, and you're called to make a difference. And the only way you're going to do that is if you're different.
Yeah.
And so they keep me to that standard even to this day. Shucks, man, I oftentimes would go take my mama out to go, get something to eat. And before I enter her house, she's looking me up and down to make sure I'm dressed right.
Yeah.
I mean, she's looking at me, hey, you wearing that? You need to go back home and change. She's that type of mother. Everything has to be bam, bam, bam. And she believed that when you present yourself the right way, when you carry yourself the right way, you influence others to do the same. We all love that Deion Sanders saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look good,
play good. Yeah.
That is true. That is true in every facet. So I think that, just like that Walmart merchandising, when you present good, some good's going to happen. When you sacrifice good, something good's going to happen. When you do the small things right, something good's going to happen. When you're extremely detailed, good things happen. But the thing is, are you willing to do that? Just like you guys, I'm extremely proud of you guys. A few months back, about a year or so ago, I flew up to New York and did a set with Nate Burleson and Gayle King on CBS Deals.
Oh, nice.
And had an opportunity to talk with Nate, before and then after that set. It was funny, man, to see how Nate was on set about 10 to 15 minutes before everybody else was.
Yeah.
We know the phrase in the NFL, right? To be on time is to be late. But to be early is to be on time. Still carried that mantra, still carried that lifestyle. He was there early. He was there afterwards, talking to me. And I'll just tell him how proud I am that he didn't let anybody put a box around him, right? Because quite often people tend to put boxes around us thinking that we're only athletes. That's all we can do. But man, we got so many gifts and talents, but we got to nurture them things, man. We got to develop those things, and we got to lean on each other to sharpen those gifts and talents and take them and use them. Use those talents, man, to be whatever the good Lord has called us to be.
Yeah. So that's two. You give me two more on your Mount Rushmore. You got mom and dad.
Oh, and I got to put my wife on there too, man. Real talk. When I first started dating my wife, I didn't know we were dating because I wasn't dating material, to be quite honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
I had never kept a girlfriend for no more than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
At the time, I was just not that type of guy that wanted to settle down with one woman and one girl, especially in high school. And you know how it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I was in high school, my wife and I, we were like best of friends. I mean, she was like one of the fellas, and she could hang with the fellas. She was very articulate, all AB student. And even if the fellas would clown around, she could clown right around with us, so she could hold her own.
Yeah.
I wasn't used to that coming from girls, I wasn't used to that. And so we were cool for quite some time, for maybe a year or so. And then, the question came up, say, hey, well, why don't we, take this to the next level? And of course, I didn't want to do it because I knew if I did it, I was probably going to mess it up, like I always do. But I said to myself, shucks, well, if I don't date her, it's going to get awkward. If I do date her and I mess things up, it's still going to be awkward. So I just took my chance and started dating, and that's the best thing I could have ever done. A great wife. She always encouraged me, always supports me, and always there for me. I couldn't have asked for a better partner. And the thing I like about it is that we're best friends. We were friends before we started dating. We're friends before we are a married couple. And everything that we do it as friends. And that's why when she came to me about this food business, she knew, well, listen, I know you're a man of your word. You always, when you say you're going to do something, you always stick to it and do it. And so she knew by me telling that some years ago when we were friends and when we were dating, She knew that I would stick to it. So she's a type of woman that's going to always keep me accountable. She's the type of woman, regardless if I'm 6'5" and she's 5 foot, she's still going to stand her ground and say, hey, no, if you say you're going to do it, do it.
Yeah.
All right, you need to make sure that you're different. Nope, I don't care what anybody says. You need to fight for your dreams, Reggie. And so whenever you have that type of support, it makes it easy to come home.
Yeah.
It makes it easy to be able to confide in my wife. And so she's definitely instrumental in my life. And I think the fourth one will be the fourth one in my life. I have a number of coaches. Man, I would hate to leave anybody out, man. Can I just stick with 3? Can I do 3?
Got to do one.
Got to do one.
That's a standard.
That's a standard. One more.
It's a good call.
That's a good call. I would say the other person would be my grandmother.
Okay.
My grandmother, I grew up next door to her. And so grandmother used to always take me fishing. She used to always spoil me. Even times when my dad wanted to whip me, all I had to do was run next door to my grandmother and hide behind her. And she would tell my dad, leave him alone. Leave him alone. And that was old school, because those old school grandmas, they didn't play, especially about their grandkids. And so she would always love on me. I would always go to church with her as well. She would always cook for me. And she was that quiet, sweet spirit that I needed in my life, especially when I was a rowdy young teenager. I could always lean on my grandmother and lay my head in her lap, and she was always there for me. So my grandmother, of course, she passed some years ago, but she was the matriarch of our family and everything. She was somewhat the center of our family.
Yeah.
And she left a great legacy behind. And before I passed, she had the opportunity to know that I did, reach the goal of playing in the NFL and trying to be productive. So those four: my dad, mom, my wife, and of course my granny.
That's a great one, man. That's a great one. Well, Reggie, man, we're going to get you up out of here, man. Dude, I appreciate you blessing us with your time. The food, I mean, I'm taking the sweet potato barbecue.
No, you're not. I'm taking all this.
We got some
chips,
great.
I'm taking everything.
We got some great one-liners from you, some great nuggets, and you even brought out the best in peanut, man. From the gridiron to the
cast iron.
To the cast iron. That was a great.
Right. I like that.
That was so
I like
good.
that.
All right, man. Let's thank all of our listeners and viewers out there, wherever you listen to your podcast at. Make sure you give us a review, a follow, a couple comments, write, review, do all those things. 5 stars. We ain't asking. We telling you. 5 stars. Whether it's Apple, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, wherever you pick up your podcast at.
NFL YouTube channel. Check us out.
NFL YouTube channel. That's all. That's new for us too. That's all. Hey man, we're advancing. We're growing at this thing.
Yes, we are.
Thank you, man. Tell a friend to do what, Peanut?
Tell a friend.
All right, man. Get us out of here, man.
Hey, Peanut, Mr. Kelly, that's Rome. NFL Players Taking X podcast. We out, y'all.